Alright, I'm gonna get out of the way. Jadusable2 and some guy I've never heard of are here for tell you about Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. Go for it.
Okay. So, I'm Jadusable2, mostly Kingdom Hearts speedrunner. This is Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. We're running on beginner, which makes it a little easier, and we start off with some items that make things really easy in the beginning of the game. Time's going to be when I hit proceed, so I'm just going to do it in 3, 2, 1, go.
And I'll play the person I don't know is Otskari. He's here in commentary. Now I'll leave. I'll introduce him since I actually know him.
I'm only here because I have learned this run, and this is one of my favorite games. So, and I am here anyway.
So this is the part of the game where we basically set our path on what levels we learn what abilities and what our starting stats are. We pick the staff, and then we give up the shield because we're going for a more glass cannon kind of build. In the beginning of the game, it's not so bad. It gets pretty sketchy at the end of the game because we're kind of underpowered, but kind of not. And then we'll have one more choice after some tutorials here about combat. There's a lot of cutscene skips in this game.
Yep.
And we can skip pretty much every cutscene in the game. There's a very few we can't. So now we're just learning about the Heartless and our combat basics. These guys can go into the ground at random. And I did not get lucky. Sometimes you get to kill the last two with one last swing. The last swing of every combo is more powerful than the last. So you can use it to finish off certain enemies quicker.
You kind of want to use it also so that you don't knock away enemies that won't die from it. So
yeah,
it's you don't just use it willy-nilly.
Air combos are always faster than ground combos. Certain I didn't get to jump backwards. If you air combo that barrel, you can jump backwards and get a little closer to this door. Air combos are always faster on beginner, and they're more powerful.
But they are difficult.
Yeah. Oops. It doesn't matter if you talk to her twice. I'm going to answer questions from all of them. I'm going to pick the top question for everybody because it sets us on what's called the Dawn route. Dawn route, you level up quicker the lower level you are, and then it kind of tapers off as you get to higher levels. And then there's midday, which is kind of an in-between, and then there's night, which you only start picking up past like level 50. But we want to. That's about where we're going to end the game, anyways. So we want to level as quick as possible. And I got not great RNG on these guys.
You want to kind of group them together, so you swipe on like as many as possible at the same time. But they can.
Oh, my controller's dropping inputs. That's cool.
That's great.
It's also just kind of this game in general, the PC port. I've tried multiple controllers and testing it, and sometimes it will just drop your inputs. But, yeah, where the goal was to group them up there. That was not great RNG, but it's not the worst I've ever had. We're going to button match here a little bit. We're going to use all 8 power-ups and all 8 defense-ups. So, we can be a little bit stronger in the early game. We're going to keep the AP or ability point ups to sell later for gummy ship pieces to make those missions go faster. And speaking of the gummy ship, was the incentive meant to name it? Do we know?
I claimed it.
Oh, okay.
So
you'll let me know what it is then?
Yeah.
So this is the first boss of the game. Funny enough, you can actually die to him, and the game will still continue. We actually do that a couple times throughout the run on harder difficulties like Proud, where it's faster just to get defeated by enemies that will just continue the story. They're not, and then because they're not really worth experience anyways. And that was all kind of just like a dream sequence. Now we're on Destiny Islands, where we're collecting pieces to build a raft to try and sail to other worlds with our friends Kyrie and Riku. So we're gonna collect 2 logs, some cloth, and some rope on the first day, and on the second day we're gonna collect food. And then nothing tragic happens after day 2.
Yeah, everything's good.
Everything's fine. So yeah, this part's pretty... The first day, there's nothing to it. It's just collecting these items and then it ends. On the second day, there's a race that we have to do between Sora and Riku. We want to win it because we get a... not only is it faster to win, but we get an item called a Pretty Stone, which the only purpose it serves is it's 100 money, which helps us towards our gummy ship parts. So day 1's already over. Like I said, there's nothing to it. And then there's just a ton of cutscenes to skip.
I will say if you're thinking, oh, this movement doesn't look awkward at all, then you know it is.
It's very awkward. So basically, all these cutscenes we're skipping are just introducing our other 2 main party members, Donald and Goofy, which we have not met yet. These fish, where they are RNG, and so are their movements. So hopefully they're nice to me. Which they were. They didn't go out into the deeper part of the water where I had to swim. So for those that don't know, Kingdom Hearts is kind of like a RPG mishmash of Disney and like kind of like Square Enix type things. Like there are Final Fantasy characters, and so yeah, it's kind of strange to see those things interacting. The cutscene we skipped, yeah, the cutscene we skipped there, we learn about that door, kind of. There's a shadowy man creeping around a 12-year-old boy who talks in riddles. Yeah, there's some questionable design choices in this game, which I'll explain later. Oh. So, we have almost all of our ingredients. This is where the gummy ship name's going to come in here.
The name is Bingus.
Bingus?
B-I-N-G-U-S.
B-I-N-G-U-S?
Yeah.
Okay, so our ship is called Bingus.
Sorry, thank you for handling that. I was putting chicken tenders in the microwave.
We're going to get an overview of the course. This race is pretty easy. It can, if my controller decides to drop an input, it can get sketchy when I'm jumping across those trees there. But
yeah.
All in all, it's not that hard. Like, I'm not going to try it, because if I fail, I'm going to fall behind, but you can actually step on that part of the bridge right there and make Riku fall down. It doesn't really put him behind all that much, but it's just kind of fun to do.
Yeah, this race is it. I don't know if you mentioned this, but the race ends when Riku reaches the end.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter when you get there, as long as you can't save an infinite amount of time.
And I fell because my controller dropped an input. Oh. But I should be okay because I was so far ahead of Riku. It shouldn't matter. Normally we would go down there, but it would actually be slower at this point to fall down. So that happens sometimes. It's not that big of a deal. Even if you lose the race, you're just losing time. There's backup items you can pick up to guarantee you'll have enough money. And then you can also just get really lucky off of item drops from enemies. Ideally, we don't want those item drops, but it helps if we don't win the race. So here's where the first little bit of RNG comes in, coconut RNG. Because we can only collect... we can only... Get off the tree, sorry. We can only collect the yellow coconuts, and I haven't got a single one yet. That's really bad.
Oh jeez.
Oh, there we go. Okay, that made up for it. I am only hitting the tree twice and then pausing, because there can only be 3 coconuts on screen at one time. So you can actually despawn the ones you want if you just mash attack. So we just need to collect the spring water here. And then we are done. We're going to talk to Kyrie. She's going to tell us about her charm she's making, which kind of comes into play later. And then we're going to end the day. And kind of fun side note is that close-up of her face right there is if you let your... if you upload a Kingdom Hearts video to YouTube, and like if it's a full-length run, and you don't choose a thumbnail, it will default to that every
That's
time.
funny.
Because I'm pretty sure it's because it picks up on faces and whatnot.
Yeah.
And since Kyrie's face takes up like 80% of the screen,
I think it also like looks at like an earlier part of the video. It's not like the like 10 minutes in.
yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
So our island's under it while Heartless here. And all we've got is a wooden sword to defend ourselves, so we can't. But luckily we're not going to be weaponless for long. We're going to go find our good buddy Riku over here, who gets taken by the darkness. And a fun fact, the Keyblade that we now have, which is our main weapon, that has the power to defeat the Heartless, was actually supposed to go to Riku, but because he opened his heart to the darkness instead of accepting the light, it got passed on to Sora instead.
Yeah. Lore.
Yeah, I'm not going to even pretend to understand the lore of Kingdom Hearts. Once they introduced time travel, I started checking out.
I watched
Luckily, none of that's in this
3-hour
game.
long videos.
So, that was a terrible start. I'm gonna fight this guy again. This time we do have to beat him. He's still not hard at all.
Yeah, you just go for the hands. The like main part here is like getting the timing down for the attacks, because you can mash X, but it's better if you time out the attacks.
Yeah, if you time your attacks, you can actually hit the lasers into him for a little bit of extra damage. And that's
Yeah.
actually super critical on standard and proud mode. So now we're in a world called Traverse Town, which a bit of lore, because I did look into this. Because I couldn't remember if I was remembering it right or not. Traverse Town only exists so long as someone needs a home.
That sounds right.
And then we skip that cutscene where Sora watches a man die. It gets kind of real there for a second.
Yeah.
They gave me a bad pattern. Ideally, I wanted them to group up because I need to defeat 5 of them, and they're being jerks and not giving me good patterns. Because if you don't defeat 5, the next part, once I leave the accessory shop, won't activate.
Yeah, like casually you'll go through and like run through the entire town and stuff, and then eventually you'll go into the shop and just find the progress. But turns out you just need to kill 5 enemies and return.
Yeah. And me being the person who plays RPGs even as a kid, I beat up a bunch of Heartless anyways.
So yeah, Leon, he has 2 different kind of starts. He can do that fireball, he could jump at you. You just want to react to, jump over or wait for the thing and then, kill him.
Yeah.
Well,
in this
not kill
cutscene,
him.
I can't skip right away. I never don't skip a cutscene right away. It's just because I can't. For some reason, I have to wait for Riku to open his eyes about halfway. Yeah, that fight has 2 openers, like it was mentioned. The quicker one is the fireball. It's Leon, definitely not Squall from Final Fantasy VIII.
Yeah.
He doesn't like to be called Squall in this game.
Yep.
So Yuffie there teaches us that we can open pretty much any lock with the Keyblade.
Yuffie is definitely
And-
from Final Fantasy VIII.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I locked on too early. So Leon tells us to ignore the small fry, and we're going to immediately disregard his opinion because we're 12 and we know better. Oh, sort of veered off there a little bit. I was going for a... So we have a high enough strength that the Soldier Heartless die in 2 hits, and then the 3rd hit from a combo will defeat them instantly. So I was trying to do a little swag strat there to get the 3rd kill, because we want to get another level up before we fight the boss. For Traverse Town 1, we come back here 4 times. There's only 2 bosses. And they can do that and become invincible, which is annoying.
And now we have Doll and Goofy.
Yeah, now we have our party members. We got our level up. But you got it a little early because I think I may have defeated an extra Heartless or 2. So this enemy is called the Guard Armor, and I already messed up the pattern.
Yeah, the basic idea here is to get the limbs, break the limbs, and then get the body. There are, if you're not fast enough, then he will go into like this phase where he's invincible and stuff. But yeah, basically you're just doing combos at him. But he has some different starts and stuff, but it's over so quick that it's not worth explaining.
Yeah, it's a pretty simple fight. It's a little sketchy on like standard and proud, but on beginner you just wail on him until he's gone. There's no real strategy. So that's actually the first enemy where you can actually tell that there's a difference from the PlayStation 2 version. In Final Mix, they all have different colors. I really don't know why. Originally, he's just purple and black. The guard armor is. And then a lot of the Emblem Heartless are different colors too. Emblem Heartless are most of the Heartless in the game. There's Pure Blood and then there's Emblem, but that's once again kind of a lore thing that
doesn't really matter.
Yeah. So we are going to jack Goofy's ether because we are greedy and we need it, and he'll use it weird. So we also have some extra items when we start. We have a item called a ribbon, and we also have a experience bracelet, which we'll use for a little bit until we get to Agrabah, and then we'll give it to Goofy. So we want him to get to a high enough level to have certain abilities. There's 2 versions of the game. Well, there's multiple versions of the game, but the main versions are English and Japanese. This is where the route differs between English and Japanese. Because English has slower text boxes, and it's about 20 seconds slower. We do that clip right there, where Sora doesn't technically have collision. So we can go here and we sequence break the game a little. We're not supposed to come in here until we come back to Traverse Town for the 2nd time. And we just get all these text boxes and most of Traverse Town 2 out of the way in the first visit.
Yeah. It just makes the next visit a bit faster.
Yeah, like had we gone into the accessory shop like we were... Well, you don't have to go to the accessory shop to leave. You can leave through the main gate in Traverse Town, but most people would go into the shop. There's another Trinity there, which also triggers that cutscene, but it doesn't do anything special. So yeah, we just use the lack of collision on the bars to speed things up for English a little bit. And then we're going to go visit Merlin, basically only for a save point at this point, because some save points allow you to land there when you come in from outside. And we'll use it as like a pseudo fast travel kind of method.
That's pretty much the thing that saves time. It's picking up the save point.
Yeah, and getting this long cutscene out of the way.
Yeah.
Well, it's not really a cutscene. The game is considered a cutscene. There's just a lot of text boxes you're gonna mash through. And we basically never visit Merlin again in this route. We come here to see the fairy godmother, who will restore summons for us. We just got the Simba summon from Leon, but we can't unlock it yet, even though we're in here. The game just assumes you don't have it right now, so her trigger for her to start giving you summons isn't activated. You do come back here on different routes to get a Keyblade. Once you know one of every spell, you can get the Spellbinder Keyblade, which is used a lot in Proud and level 1. Because there's an ability on Proud mode called EXP 0, where you don't gain any experience, but there's a hidden mechanic behind it, where the more combo finishers you do, the more powerful most of your magic and summons get. So they abuse the heck out of it.
Yeah.
But
So,
we don't use it in this
Wild
route. So now we're going to craft the most beautiful gummy ship ever.
A beautiful Bingus.
A beautiful Bingus.
Yeah, so turns out that, well, the speed of your gummy ship is based on its weight, and having all these blocks is pretty heavy, so we just put a tissue box and an engine and a gun.
Pretty much.
That makes us go real fast.
That does make some of the later missions a little sketchy, because those extra blocks do give you more health and like damage resistance. But on beginner, it's really not a problem, especially since pretty much every Heartless ship blows up in like one shot. In this mission, though, we're just gonna sit in the top corner here and do nothing for like a minute. So if there's any donations or anything to read, or anything you might want to talk about.
Sorry, I have to like unmute two different things. I actually talked earlier, but y'all couldn't hear me because I only unmuted the stream. I thank the Oscari for mentioning Bingus, because I was downstairs nuking some chicken tenders when that happened. No, I don't really have much to say. What's your favorite RPG? I've heard you talk about playing a bunch of RPGs. I'm just curious.
It's Kingdom Hearts.
So it is Kingdom Hearts, okay.
Yeah, just the series as a whole.
Oscari loves to hear that. Me, you're allowed to lie.
H2 is my favorite game of all time.
Yeah, I've run a couple. I've only run 2 Kingdom Hearts games so far. I run this on beginner and E%, which is this category, and then I also have ran Kingdom Hearts 3 New Game Plus, and I actually have a world record in that.
Nice.
And it can still be improved a whole bunch. But...
Do you like action RPGs in general, or is it just
yeah,
any kind
I
of...
prefer action RPGs over
Gotcha.
more traditional. So our first world is Wonderland.
There's a runner interview.
Great. It's not the first time you've interviewed somebody during an autoscroller.
Well, I was the interviewer. The runner did the interviewing of the commentary during that run.
Yeah.
So I don't know why Square decided to do this, but the reason why I watched the rabbit run in the door is because on every other version of the game, that cutscene's skippable, and the one where I opened the door wasn't, and they swapped it on PC for no reason. They took the time to swap those, but they took away our soft reset, where we can go back to the title menu.
As a programmer, I think it's probably like something broke and they fixed it by doing that, and it's like, doesn't matter.
It's a possibility. It's a very small thing. The only thing that does we do miss is the soft reset, but someone made a mod to enable it, so it's not a big deal. So we need to prove Alice's innocence, which, fun fact, we're probably not going to end up doing because it's RNG. We're going to collect exactly 1 evidence box out of 4 because we're pro investigators. And then we're going to play a guessing game to figure out who is the culprit who tried to steal the Queen's heart. Which
does the order not work on PC?
There's a way to tell. The box that has the Heartless in it actually hits the ground first, but they fall so quickly I can never tell which one it is.
Yeah, me either, but yeah.
I have an idea this time. I may have seen it. So we'll see. You lose a couple seconds. It's not a big deal if you don't get the Heartless. Which I didn't. I got both Donald and Goofy, so I have no help for this upcoming fight.
Oh.
They're both in jail.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. It's just like there's a bunch of cards around, and they can be annoying. But Donald and Goofy kind of help out, getting them off you a bit, and also doing damage.
Yeah, the only thing that's really different is the transition. Oh, you jerk! Into the cutscene is a little faster if you have the Heartless. The reason why I didn't just wail on the tower immediately is because there's actually a cooldown in between when you can damage it when it had those cranks inside of it. Once those break, it's fair game. But
those
you also can't.
Those combos are really spaced out.
Yeah, and you also can't. You can't target the tower until you hit it at least once. That's why I targeted the card, and he did cost me a little bit of time by jumping towards me and not staying on the other side, but it's not that big of a deal. That fight's super quick. Because the tower always has the same amount of health no matter what the difficulty, I believe. So even on, like, Proud, it's not hard.
Yeah, isn't it like amount of hits rather than
Pretty much.
Health? Yeah.
So we're actually almost done with Wonderland. It's one of those shortest worlds. I think Monstro is probably, like, the next shortest one.
I want to say he's skipping a bunch of spawns in here by doing some platforming.
I am.
It's pretty cool.
And if I don't mess this next part up, they won't spawn until I'm already leaving. So
basically, the spawns are on the left part of the floor.
It's pretty quick to recover if you do mess that up, but it probably takes about 5 seconds. So yeah, we're already almost done. The boss is coming up in like 3 seconds.
Yeah, Trickmaster can be a bit annoying, because you have to like get up on the table and stuff, knock him down. So you want to do. There's a specific pattern. There's a combo and then the 2 hits, and then you can get him down again.
Unless he does that, but I kind of recovered it, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Oh, he's being annoying today. I guess you could say he's being a bit tricky.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
So we're gonna get our first Navi G gummy, which they work in pairs, and it's actually the reason why we go to certain worlds at any percent and we don't go to others. Certain worlds you don't get a Navi gummy as a reward for finishing it, which once you have 2, it lets you move on to the next like set of worlds. Like that's why we don't go to Olympus, Colosseum, Atlantica, or 100 Acre Wood, because they don't give us anything we need for this run.
Yeah, it does have an effect on the ending of the game, like or near the ending, but it's not enough to, it's not worth it to go into the worlds.
Yeah, there's a part at the end of the game where we basically do kind of like a little mini world gauntlet, where if you sealed the keyhole in that world, you don't have to do it. So that's why we have to do the Atlantica and Olympus Coliseum fight. There isn't a fight for 100 Acre Wood, and you're required to do it, even if you finish it. And it's worth it because you get a free Mega Elixir, which restores all 3 party members' health and MP to max, so it's super useful.
Yeah, it's used in the final fights.
It's also got a save point there, which we don't save, but we use it to restore our health and mana, so... Yeah, these gummy missions are pretty slow until we start getting some of the better pieces, and we start creating our amalgamation of a ship.
Yeah, but if you think these are slow, then try doing this with the default ship, and it's excruciating.
Yeah, I timed it. It's way slower. Like, I never noticed playing it before until I started speedrunning. There's a lot of things I actually didn't know about this game until I started speedrunning it.
Can I resume my interview?
Stuff they don't explain. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Jadusable2 at Jadusable2. Are you familiar with an RPG by the name of Eternal Sonata?
I am, yes. I've played that one.
I'm afraid to ask my follow-up question. Oh, we're here. Never mind. We don't. We're no time.
Thankfully, there's like several more gummies, so.
Okay. Foreshadowing for where
Cliffhanger.
this is gonna go. I'll be back later.
So right here, Sora and Donald are arguing because they don't get along. Sora's looking for Kairi and Riku, while Donald and Goofy are looking for the king, which if you can't tell with all the mouse ears plastered around, it's Mickey Mouse. So this fight just kind of sucks. Sabor doesn't like to sit still. I cheese it by just doing that. Because air combos are actually pretty tricky to do on anything that's Sora's height or smaller. And since Sabor's not as tall as Sora, it's pretty hard to land some combos. So I just knock her over and then she's fire. It's a little bit slower, but it's faster than sitting there trying to attack her normally. So we touch that save point because, like I mentioned earlier, we can use certain ones as like a fast travel, and we'll use it quite a few times in this run, or in the run in general, but also just in this world. So we're collecting these slides because we'll be asked to after this next cutscene, anyways.
We'll see the slide minigame again, but you probably notice that you just, if you quit out of it, you just end up at the bottom.
Oh, I missed the swag thing. You can hit the edge of that box and it bounces you back towards the door while you pick up the slide. This world's also pretty quick. It's not as fast as Wonderland, but
It's a lot of running around.
yeah, and this is honestly probably my least favorite world, just from when I originally played this game before, because I got lost all the time. And I don't believe in the original you could quit out of the slider minigame. So every time I used it to try and get somewhere, which was the wrong direction, I had to play the sliding minigame.
When I played this game as a kid, I did not speak English, so you can imagine how lost I got.
So yeah, fast traveling is just using a save point to go to back to the gummy ship menu to then just select the world over again.
It's super quick because PC is quick loads.
Yeah, there's between the like PS4, Xbox One X, and then PS5 and Series X, I think it is. The load times actually aren't that drastic.
Yeah.
The reason why the PC version has such a low time in it is the fact that we use a load remover normally.
Did the PS3 version for this game have horrible loads like KH2?
I don't recall. It might have. I don't think I actually played the PS3 version. I'm not a real fan. I haven't played every version.
Wow. Neither have I.
This next section can go really, really good or really, really bad. Because the Power Wild enemies are extremely random. That actually was a pretty good start.
You can use,
Ideally, I would...
Blizzard to group them. Yeah, that was good.
We'll just see how the rest of them go. We have to do like 2 or 3 more of those.
There's like 5 of them, I think.
Yeah, actually, I think you're right.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5. Yeah. That's what my notes
Some of those
say.
things that you do constantly while you're running, and you don't actually pay attention to how many times you have to fight them.
Yeah.
You just know that it's pain when you do.
I will say that you can do the Power Wilds like in any room. They just like the next 5 rooms with enemies you do will have Power Wilds in them, but the speedrun does them in a particular way.
Yeah,
To
you can
speed
do
things
them in
up.
any order. You just this is just the fastest way to do it. So you can actually slide up there a little bit and get up here. It's a little faster than running around.
That's cool.
Come on!
Yeah, for those not familiar, you can see the yellow MP bar will like fill up, and if you like by doing melee stuff, and if you fill it up
This should help.
to like the next empty MP bar, it will give you more MP, which is cool.
Yeah, you can restore your MP just through attacking.
Be free! Be free!
I don't want that potion actually,
Fire!
because it's gonna mess up my menuing for later. Like there's spots where I could probably just toss it to get rid of it, like I did for Darkside, but it's not ideal to pick up items like that until later in the game, when you're gonna get things like ethers and elixirs and whatnot.
Come on!
Party members, please help.
There's a thing in this game that I didn't know about when I was a kid. Is you just mash triangle, Goofy and Donald would be aggressive.
Yeah, sometimes like when Donald runs out of MP though, he gets kind of dumb and doesn't know that he can hit things with his staff.
Yeah, that fits his personality in these games.
Yeah. It's also a meme that Donald will never heal you when you need to. I've had him heal an almost full health Goofy over me who was in critical health.
Yeah.
That's not an ideal start. Ideally, I wouldn't have moved like that. I thought Sabor was going to jump forward, so I moved back.
Fire!
This fight is pretty dynamic. Sabor can do some different openings and different everything after that. You kind of want to corner her, and then like you can use the finisher to stagger her into a corner, but you know it's not always easy to do.
Yeah, the fight varies depending on what Sabor opens with.
She can like jump into the bamboo and stuff.
Yeah, she'll either jump towards you, or she'll do that thing where she just walked forward and I thought she jumped. But ideally, I would just would have spammed fire until I was out of mana. I did a full combo to knock her over, and then I would have just spammed. This is another way to fast travel through this particular world. If you do that minigame and quit out, it just puts you at the end of it. And that's exactly where you want to be. And they didn't have inspiration for the rest of this world, so we have to beat up a giant fruit. I don't know why. This is not part of Tarzan. This is not anything. It's just kind of here.
Is it 25 hits?
No.
5 combos or something?
It's like 4 combos. But that Power Wild knocked me out of a combo, so I did an extra hit. Oops, I almost went the wrong way. That would have been bad.
Oh, yeah.
We're gonna immediately just jump off the edge here because it puts us exactly where we want to be. Where all the gorillas are trapped. Really? The Power Wild deflected that last hit.
Oh.
I've actually never had that happen. Oh, I didn't do it. There's a strat there where the chameleon thing just became visible. You can actually make the animations cancel out, and it makes this fight about like 5 seconds faster.
You want to do 2-hit combos until his health is low enough that a finisher will show him. Man, this is not great.
Yeah, that wasn't a great fight. When the chameleon starts shooting lasers, that's when it can start knocking you away from Clayton. It doesn't help that Goofy also shoved him away at one point.
Yeah, this is another fight that can just go wrong. And now, the best platforming in the game.
Oh yeah, this is the best platforming ever. It's not janky at all because of the weird camera. But hey, we did it.
Nice.
So that was, I didn't explain it in Wonderland, but that was another keyhole. Every world has a keyhole that the Heartless are looking for, and that's how they get into the world and corrupt it. and it's our job to seal them to make sure that doesn't happen. And we got our second Navi G piece, and we got a new Keyblade actually. Which you don't actually get a new Keyblade, you get a new charm. Which, when you equip to the Keyblade, changes its power and shape and all that. I always thought you got a new Keyblade, but no, it's just the charm on it.
Yeah. They kind of went away from that in the other game, the next games. Where they kind of just like dropped that detail.
So
It's specifically
unfortunately,
talked about in this game.
there's just a ton of downtime in this part of the run because we don't have a certain gummy yet, which we get after this Traverse Town, which lets us work to worlds we've already been to.
So we can continue the interview if you're there.
Oh yeah, we can talk about Eternal Sonata apparently.
Okay. So yeah, when I was talking, I think I was talking to you about RNG heavy runs or whatever in the server. I speedrun Eternal Sonata, so I enjoy the game a bit. I wouldn't say it's my favorite game ever, but I always have to bring it up whenever I have this. I mean, I'm forcing it on you for sure, but it's also jank. I know that it's a jank game, but I can't help it. It's one of my favorite games. What's your opinion on it? And don't be swayed by my existence.
It's been so long since I've played it. I really don't remember that much.
That's a good cop out.
I played it back when I first got a PlayStation 3.
Oh, you played the PlayStation 3 version. I see.
Yeah, it's been that long.
All right, any opinion you have, I understand. Even if it's
I remember enjoying it. But...
No, the PS3 version is very different from the 360 version. Like, no one's even... I think there's like one speed run of the PS3 version because it's extremely hard to run compared to the 360 version. But I'm glad someone else has just played it. That's all I'll say. Not too many people played that game.
Yeah, I even when I played it, I kind of felt like it was one of those games that people probably didn't really play all that much.
Yeah. Well, thank you for humoring me. Oh, we're still going. We're still going.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2 gummy missions back to back. And
Gotcha.
it's the same thing as last time, except for I'm just going to sit in the opposite corner and do nothing.
I don't have any additional Eternal Sonata stuff, but I'll preview a future run, which is my actual just favorite game period of all time, which is Yakuza Like a Dragon, and that's what Oscar is running tomorrow morning, the first run. Not just my favorite RPG, just my favorite game. Love that game.
Good game.
We're in a New Game Plus. Thankfully, New Game would take too long.
It's also scary.
Yeah, it is awful scary. There's some boss fights in that run that are frightening. Reminds me of Earthbound a lot.
Yeah. That's a
Yeah,
good thing.
the later gummy missions, I mean, there's not much to do. You're just flying in a straight line to get to your destination, but it requires you to probably shoot more things than not. Some runners don't even put the gun on their gummy ship on beginner because it's actually kind of hard to die. I put it on for safety, and it only saves a second and a half, 2 seconds to not put it on. So.
Yes, and you're more than welcome to just like butt in if I'm talking about random whatever with Oscar.
Yeah. Now, sometimes there's just not much to talk about in this run.
Yeah.
This is where the sequence break comes in. Normally, we would have had to go talk to Leon twice and then come here and talk to Sid about the gummy pieces. But since we already talked about the objects we didn't have, we can just skip to this part where he asks us to go deliver a book to an old guy, which is Merlin, before he'll do us a solid. And the book is actually how to get to... is how you get to the 100-acre wood. I don't know why I spaced that, but we don't go there and get any percent. It's probably why. So here we're gonna do our first menu, and I accidentally went to buy. So we're gonna sell everything except for the elixir and the white thing, which, whoops, we do have enough money. We need 1,000, I believe. No, we need 1,200. to get the new engine and the boost gummy.
Yeah, I think 1200.
And then we're gonna get Simba after we talk to him. Simba's used quite a few times throughout the run. He's a very powerful summon. Even the high-end runs use him every time that you would when you're learning the run, besides the first time you use him. If you get good RNG and you're better at the fight, there's a fight in Agrabah that's actually faster if you don't use Simba, but I use him because it makes the fight free. So now we're gonna go meet our good buddy Riku again in this cutscene, but obviously we're gonna skip the heartfelt reunion. The thing that kind of gets me is most of this game wouldn't happen if Riku wasn't such a dope.
Yeah.
He just immediately assumes, oh, Sora abandoned me because he's got new friends, so I'm gonna go turn over to the darkness and be a jerk. Had he not done that, most of this game wouldn't have happened.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of Riku's fault in a way, but you know.
Sure. But then also he wouldn't have turned into a cool big dude in a black cloak in the next game.
Yeah, that's true. He wouldn't turn into a stand user.
Yeah, he wouldn't have to cover his eyes, so he could contain his true power.
Yeah, I never got that one, but there's a lot of things they don't. There's a lot of things they don't get.
Afterwards.
There's a lot of things they don't get about Kingdom Hearts and their lore. Like I said, in Kingdom Hearts 3D, because they were being cute, because it came out on the 3DS originally. They introduced time travel, and that's when things get really, really wacky. So now we're gonna buy our gummy pieces. We want Fire G, Haste G, and I cut it super close with the money, but
there's only a couple of times money matters in the run.
that's the only time.
Oh yeah, that's the only time. I thought it was one more, but yeah, I guess that's the only one.
At least not in standard.
Beginner, yeah.
Or yeah, beginner, my bad. So the number of engines you have does not make you go faster. It is based solely on the most powerful engine you have equipped, and it only lets you equip a certain amount anyways. So we want to go to the warp hole, but it's actually slightly faster to go to warp to Wonderland and then go to the warp hole from there, which is going to lead us to Agrabah. And now we have a boost, which it's how fast you go is partly determined on what level of booster you're using and then what engine you're using. We're going to pick up 2 chests that have gummies parts in them, which are just a faster engine and a faster boost. But that's not till later. But it speeds up life significantly during these missions. And this mission in particular is pretty safe. You can pretty much just breeze through it. I blow things up because I have a small attention span. Which is actually kind of the reason why I've never ran the original Kingdom Hearts, because the original Kingdom Hearts has no cutscene skip. So world record is like 5.5 hours on beginner, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. Something like that. Which sounds like my kind of game, because I ran FF10.
I looked into the runs for that, and then I saw how long it was, and I just kind of clicked away from the page.
Yeah,
I don't have the attention span to run something that long.
If you play, there's a mod for PS2 emulation that removes the cutscenes, and that takes about 4.5 hours, maybe.
That's not bad.
So the game is like half and half cutscene in game.
I think the longest run I've ever done is Xenoblade Chronicles on the Switch version.
How long is that?
World record's like 5 hours or something. My PB is like 6.5.
And that's definitive edition.
Yeah.
I've tried to run Torn of the second one, but I didn't get too far with that.
So we're rescuing the carpet here, so he can take us to Aladdin and save him, because we saved a lot of people in this game who should be able to save themselves. This is the first fight where we're going to use Simba. And the reason why Simba's slower slightly, if you can do the fight really well, is summons have animations that you can't make shorter.
Give me strength.
Simba's gimmick, Simba's thing is that you hold triangle or whatever your appropriate top button is for using Xbox controller, so it's Y. And it charges up a meter, that the more it charges, the more damage he does when you release it. Right now it starts off super small because it's based on your MP and magic stuff. But later in the game, there we go. Those guys are pretty random. They'll actually just hide in the sand sometimes and make your life miserable. Because you'll miss the roar, second roar, and then you have to fight them like normal.
I wonder if that was a Disney thing that you can't shorten the summon animations, because that's.
I
standard in a
honestly
lot
would
of
100%
Phoenix.
believe that if you told me that.
Like FF10 has that feature.
But in Kingdom Hearts 2, you can actually shorten it, so...
Oh yeah.
Yeah, in this one, it's... yeah. So, we're looking to rescue Princess Jasmine from Jafar. Oops. So we want the Light Fang. We're gonna give... This is where we give Goofy that experience necklace. We're gonna equip an ability called Scan for Sora, which lets us see enemy HP. It's not super necessary. It's not super necessary. It's useful to try and... Okay, so I got enemies in that room right away. It's an enemy called a black fungus, which is really hard to kill until you... Oh, don't push him off the edge, please. Dang it.
Yeah, it's probably pretty annoying if that happens, because you don't want to go down there because there's more spawns.
Come on, at this point it actually would have been faster to leave the room and respawn the enemies, because it won't respawn all of them, just the ones you didn't defeat. But I really thought my party members were going to do me a solid for a second, but of course I am a naive young man who thinks that Donald and Goofy are actually useful.
Well, I like to believe.
I believe in the power of friendship. They don't,
Yeah.
but I do.
Yeah, this part has a lot of awkward platforming. Well, it's actually pretty fun, but it's awkward, you know, the first 2 times you do it.
Come on.
Good old pot centipede. You just want to hit the head, but sometimes things happen and you get deflected a bunch.
Like
Also, you want to like try to end the fight close to the exit into the desert as you can, because for some reason the load zones aren't in here, and this is all just one area, so you can save a little time.
Yeah, that was an okay fight. It could have gone better. Yeah, the load zones are disabled. It's one giant area because he moves in between them randomly. Agrabah's actually pretty good about just boss fight, like we're already in another one. And then it'll be like a couple minutes after we enter the Cave of Wonders and we'll be at Jafar. And we immediately go into Genie Jafar, who's my least favorite boss. This is my least favorite world, because Agrabah is where runs go to die.
Yeah. You as long as you stay on the head here, you're fine. You just want to do like 1 or 2 hits each time on the eye, on one eye, and then move on to the other one. The first eye dies, and then yeah, you can get on the nose when it goes down like this. But as long as you stay on the head the entire time, you're okay. As soon as you fall off, it's trouble.
This fight can be a little janky, just because of how Sora moves, and his hits won't always connect with the eye. That was actually pretty decent. I didn't fall off. That's the main part.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no! Don't go in that one.
Yeah, it's funny. The route basically skips most of the upstairs stuff.
Oh, 100%. You only go upstairs after you get the required item. I am not proud to admit that this area is very small, and yet, as a child, this took me forever to figure out you're supposed to destroy that pillar.
Yeah, so
Now we're gonna go do the Jafar fight, which there's a strategy that lets you one cycle him. It's very tight, very difficult, and it's extremely dependent on Donald and Goofy actually helping, which they never do to me. So I do a modified strategy, which is slightly slower, which is a lot slower, but it's way faster than just kind of wailing on Jafar because he'll fly away. This is where my runs go today, so.
it's these two fights are my least favorite.
So this is the modified strat. I was supposed to do a little more damage there,
Come on.
and I can still salvage that.
I'm really sorry about this. Run! Watch
Yeah, this is the one where you bait him back over there. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, normally, if he teleports away, it can be he can just go to some really bad places, but you can bait him back to this platform, and that works out pretty well.
Yeah, because you can run the game on a higher FPS than the base 30 from the original version. He actually moves way faster, and he's way more erratic with his movements.
Genie Jafar.
Yeah, Genie Jafar is not fun because you can damage him two different ways, and one of them really sucks, and the other sucks even more.
Yeah.
See ya.
There's no
sucks
winning, especially when he doesn't do the right thing.
See ya.
You just spam blizzards until Iago comes over here.
And then you fall off the edge and lose a bunch of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
not
Iago-
being a
Yeah,
good
this is
friend.
bad.
Iago, don't you dare. Don't you dare do it, Iago.
There's a couple of paths Iago can take, and some of them are like just over absolutely no, have nothing beneath them. So you just have to wait for him to get back over something. And,
Now, had Jafar moved, had Jafar moved over here, I could have just Blizzard Jafar to finish the fight. I did enough damage. Iago actually gave me a really good backup pattern there. He can fly off to where you actually can't even move. There's just an invisible wall. And he likes to hang out there and do nothing. And then there's a way to save time here. It's another part of the game where if you die, it just kind of moves you on. So you want to take as much damage as possible.
it's a little annoying on beginner because you don't take a lot of damage and you have better stats and stuff, but
It also doesn't help that there's health pickups everywhere.
right, and they're big old health pickups. They'll give you like a quarter of your health.
Yeah. I got it though. Cool. That saves a good 10 seconds, probably.
Yeah, something like that.
So one thing I've never understood is we're about to learn here that we're not allowed to meddle in the affair of other worlds, but we do anyways. And that's why we can't take Aladdin with us. But yeah, there's a giant dog and a duck walking around in a world where that's not normal. Now, my theory, because Donald uses his magic to blend you into certain worlds, like Halloween Town and Atlantica, my running theory is that they just look different. But I can't confirm that.
Well, that they like look different from the point of view of Aladdin. And
Yeah, they look like people.
I always
But then
just
other times people act like they know that they're a dog and a duck and that they're Donald and Goofy, so I can't say for sure. I think it's one of those things they just didn't care about.
I think it's just like, Sora has the Keyblade, so he's special, and Donald and Goofy are like on behalf of Mickey, and this piece of lore did not exist when this game came out.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that happen in this game that make you question if they actually knew they were making a Kingdom Hearts 2 or not. But, because it just doesn't mesh well together. But I mean, like, despite the fact there's probably, like, I think, 7 games at least in the series?
Yeah, and it just
Not
gets more
including
and
the
more wild.
remakes.
Right.
Then, yeah, like, they did a pretty good job piecing the convoluted story together. But it's still confusing, but I feel like they did a good job, but what do I know? I'm not a lore historian.
They painted themselves into a corner, but they did a dang good job.
Oh, they
of
do
it.
that repeatedly, especially in Kingdom Hearts 3. It gets really annoying. Like, spoiler alert, in Kingdom Hearts 3, you just die repeatedly, and Sora just goes, nah, I don't want to die, and then you just keep going.
Yeah.
So we're going to Monstro. Fun fact on the PS2 version, I never knew this, because I guess I'm extremely lucky. You can miss Monstro. If you're heading towards Halloween Town or Atlantica, sometimes Goofy will just say, oh, Monstro's not here right now, like you know who Monstro is. On the PS3 version, which was when Final Mix came to America, and beyond, it's 100% chance he always shows up. Hook Ship, which gets you into the Neverland world, however, is not 100% guaranteed chance, and you lose a minute and 20 seconds should you not get it.
Yeah, which is excellent.
Because you have to do 1.5 gummy missions. And even then, you can miss it again. There's no actual... I don't think there's any, like, guarantee Hook Ship will ever appear.
No.
I think their
No,
record is 3 times in a row.
That's a yikes.
It's pretty bad. So this world is pretty short. We're gonna go chase down Pinocchio. Riku's doing Riku meanie head things. Because it's unique that a puppet has a heart, and that's supposed to mean something without it being explained to you. I mean, and it makes sense. It makes sense later, but at the time you hit this point of the game, you have no clue what they're talking about.
Yeah. This is yet another place where you get lost as a kid.
Oh, 100%. I got lost in Monstro as much as I did in Jungle, if not more. Because there's so many different ways to get into so many different rooms, and it all kind of looks the same.
Mm-hmm.
And the air soldier was nice to me and didn't knock me off the edge. Luckily, when you know where you're going, it's pretty fast. Honestly, Monstro music's probably some of the best. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. The battle theme is pretty dang good, and the regular theme is also great.
So I don't know if we'll see it in this fight, so I'm just gonna mention it. But Pinocchio sits there and yells the whole time. Even the parasite cage doesn't want to hear him, and he'll cover his ears occasionally. It's just at random. There it is. This is not a good fight. Because my 3-hit combos are supposed to stagger him like that. Unfortunately, your party members will hit him and knock him out of the rhythm, and it's RNG. But this is an extremely fast fight because he has less health. When he's the real boss, which is in like a couple minutes, he has a lot more health.
Thankfully, this isn't like level 1 or anything, so that him breaking out of the loop is just annoying, not like life-threatening.
I got another donation.
Yeah, go for it.
$2 from Pepega Poet. He says, haha, you nerds still haven't figured it out. I'll give you another hint to add to your tent. I am a world record holder. Thank you for the
Wow.
$2.
Oh,
to
no.
beg a poet.
So, if anyone's
yes.
playing a bingo card for marathons, mark the space that says that never happens before, because that's never happened to me before. So I'm gonna do the safer thing and just jump over. If you dodge roll over, you can hit the edge and not have to hang onto the ledge, and it's faster than jumping.
World record holder narrows it down a bit, but I don't know how much.
Yeah, it's not you.
No.
Come on. Come on.
And he broke out already. Thank you.
So yeah, this is basically the same fight again. You just hit him.
Yeah, I got unlucky. Luckily, I mean, it doesn't lose like a ton of time if you get a bad fight, but it's annoying when you're on like a really good pace and then Parasite Cage kills it. The kind of meme about running Kingdom Hearts 1 is that the run doesn't start until you actually get hook ship.
Right.
Because if you get hook ship in your PB and then you don't get it, you're behind by like a minute. So
Yeah.
unless you have like a ton of time save still, like I did up until recently. I still have a lot, but missing hook ship would actually kill my run at this point if I was doing a PB attempt.
Yeah, I mean, Neverland and Beyond is where the real stuff happens.
Yeah, it's when the game just kicks it up a notch in difficulty.
I'm gonna guess Euler. I don't know. I know you're a world record holder. That's all I got.
So we're gonna go back to Monstro actually, because there's a summon in there which we need for later in the game. It's Dumbo. Dumbo lets us fly around, and he lets us grab ledges we're not supposed to be allowed to grab, and so we can skip a good portion of the Hollow Bastion world, and probably save if you have an optimal fight in both rooms, like 3 minutes. Like, it's a huge time save, and I don't know how many times I've forgotten to get Dumbo. Like, I'll pick him up in Monstro, and when I go back to Traverse Town for the 3rd time, I'll forget to actually get the summon and get to Hollow Bastion.
It's like 2 different ways you can forget.
There's some humor in forgetting Dumbo, an elephant, known for their
Right.
memory. Just thought I'd say that.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Thank you. That's why I'm the host.
So now we're gonna go to Halloween Town. This is the shortest gummy mission in the whole game. Because you're so close to the end already anyways.
Halloween Town is cool, if not a bit repetitive.
Halloween Town is extremely repetitive. You go to the same 3 areas basically the whole time. Until you go to Oogie's Manor. Which also has one of those boss fights that's kind of like, why is this added into the game? Which, I mean, I'll explain when we get to it.
Yeah.
But anyone who's played the game knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah, this is one of those instances where Donald uses his magic to change us to blend in, but
And I'm glad he did. Because these are cool outfits.
Oh yeah, this is my favorite one. I remember from when I played this.
Yeah.
That one time I almost beat the game. Don't give me a hard time. I almost beat this game. You can give me a hard time about 2.
almost.
I don't give you a hard time with this game.
I know. No, you don't.
It's
You
just when
definitely
you
give me
say
a
you
hard time
beat
with
KH2.
I
when-
beat like a half of it.
Right.
Didn't even come close. I'm sorry.
I don't blame you though. KH2 feels really long in comparison to the first one.
Don't defend me. That's a dangerous thing, defending me. Oscar, you need to just stay on
I
Oscar's
wasn't
side.
defending you. I'm just saying I can see why.
Okay.
I still think you should go and finish it.
Yeah.
I'm sure Oscar agrees. I made it past the old timing thing.
Yeah, Timeless River.
Timeless River, that's what it's called. Hell yeah.
That's not even halfway through.
That's why I'm joking. I say I got halfway through.
So, the goal that they're trying to do in this world, not every Disney world follows like the plot of the movie it's from, even close. This one has no similarity whatsoever. They're trying to create an artificial heart to control the Heartless to make them dance for Halloween. And obviously it's not going very well.
No. They don't understand the implications of creating a fake heart.
So we're collecting all sorts of elements of a heart, like memory. The next one we pick up is surprise. But then someone, and I'll let you guess who, jacks the heart to try and also control the Heartless. That door is kind of janky. Sometimes if you're running up against it, it just won't open. This is a fun little guessing game to play. There's going to be like 3 numbers that you have to memorize in a memory game, like 1 through 6. It's a fun game to play with like chat when you're doing a run.
Thankfully, this one is easier than the unintended guessing game in Wonderland.
Yeah. I rolled forward on accident, so this fight's gonna be a little weird.
You can, like, if you do this right, you can, like, skip some spawns and get out of here quicker. Yeah, like this.
I didn't get it. It's pretty tight. The only advantage I got is I didn't summon the search ghost Heartless on accident. 420 is your guess. there's no 0. It's 1 through 7. So
if you get early 1, then that's a 0. That counts as 0. I don't know what I'm saying.
0 through 6. You could 0 and exit.
Hey, that's good. Good thinking.
So yeah, I guess this is also a pretty short world because we're already almost done.
They kind of front load the running around and back load the fighting.
Yeah. All the fighting we do is pretty much at the end of the world.
You get community climb too, which is cool. I like community climb.
So the next boss fight is probably the worst one in the whole game besides Jafar. On beginner it's not so bad, but on any other difficulty it becomes like the first fight you're probably gonna die at. Which is lock, shock, and barrel. But luckily, on pretty much every difficulty except for level 1, you just cheese them with Blizzard. As long as they behave.
Yeah. It's one of those on harder difficulties, one of those where either it goes perfectly or it goes horribly wrong.
And I'm 1 mana short, so I'm really hoping that they give me the pattern I want, because then I could easily just go into a normal combo and defeat the last one. Yes, it's a officially Disney licensed Disney game where you get to beat up children.
Yeah.
I didn't really think about that before until I started running this game a lot.
Yeah.
This platforming section is pretty tight. Okay, I didn't fall off the edge. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the worst if you fall.
If you fall off the edge, it takes a hot minute to get back up here.
Well, this thing's called community climb because like each jump was kind of found by a different person in the community, which is nice.
Okay, lock, shot, barrel. Nope. They did not give me the pattern I wanted.
See ya! See ya! Feet free! See ya! See ya! Feet free! 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 Feet free!
It's bit annoying if they get separated like that.
And air comboing them is basically impossible, so...
Yeah.
I'll behave, I promise. See ya! See
Where
ya!
are you? There you are. Okay. And how fast this fight fades out is complete RNG. That was okay. It can go faster. But I've had it last like 15 seconds where they just stand there going, ow. And it's like, cool, 15-second time loss because the game decided I didn't need to PP today.
Oof, ouch, owie. You gotta remember to hit that thing, that's really important.
Yep. So despite the fact that it seems like there's a lot of menus in this game, most of them are pretty tiny changes that are easy to remember. There's only a couple really big menus. The first one being in like Neverland.
Yep.
Also, for some reason, this isn't just part of the cutscene. Jack just says, "Give me back the heart," and then it fades out into an actual cutscene. I don't know why.
Right, Uki is an interesting fight. You have to, like, you start down here where you can't really hurt him. You can hit him with fires and stuff, but what you want to do is you want to step on one of these buttons and you want to keep Donald and Goofy on the other side of the fence, because you only get a certain amount of hits per cycle before he punches you back down.
See ya!
Goofy played nice even though he got on our side there.
See ya!
And then
Oh, the dice went all over the place. That's
Oh,
not
yeah.
good. The
You wanna-
dice can either be super tight, or they can be super spread out like they were. If you knock all three back, you can just push the button again right away.
Yes. When you don't lose any hits to Donald and Goofy, you just do 2 cycles and that's it.
Yeah, luckily I got pretty lucky on his placement and the fact I kept Donald and Goofy out of there, so that still was somewhat fast despite the fact I messed the dice up. I've had way worse OD fights where I've had to like do the cycle 3 times.
Yeah.
And he can actually roll a certain number of dice where he'll go heal himself, which makes it even
Oh.
worse.
I did not know
This
that.
is the fight that I was talking about. Ogie's a house now, and I don't know why. They just decided that Halloween Town wasn't long enough, apparently.
Yeah.
So we have to go pop all of his darkness pimples and help him through puberty. That's the way I think about it.
Mhm. This is another part, but it's extremely scary and like level 1 playthroughs, but it's not really a big
This is
deal.
where you really start abusing EXP Zero's damage boost.
Yeah. Like a common strat for this on level 1 is to like get all of these down to like 1 health and then pick them off, because once you kill a certain amount of them, it gets a bit more aggressive.
That's not good. Thank you, Goofy. You actually were useful. Stop picking on me.
That jump's annoying.
Let's see if I get the quick fade out. I've gotten the slow fade out every time during this during practice. And slow. Another difference between English and Japanese for some reason is the black fade out between when they're like, "Oh my gosh, Oogie became a house," and when I jump down. For some reason, there's no fade out on Japanese. You can just jump down.
Huh.
Sally.
It may have to do with the text box speed. I don't know, but
Yeah, the differences are strange between the versions.
so we're done with Halloween Town.
Neverland next?
Yep, now it's Hook Ship. Put your guesses in chat if I'm gonna miss Hook Ship. and have to go to Atlantica and then fly back.
I'm a believer.
I don't know. I missed it in every single practice run.
Oh no.
Besides, funny enough, when I went and did an actual run, because I felt like trying to PB, I got it. So,
That's good.
so we'll see. It's about a 70% chance for him to show up. Which I don't understand why, because you have to do Neverland to continue the story. So why they would make it RNG if you can even go to it?
Yeah, it's just obtuse, old school game design.
I honestly kind of think it was a ploy to make you go to Atlantica.
Oh, that could be.
Because if you miss it, that's where you end up. So, well, at
Why
least on
wouldn't they
this
make
route.
it guaranteed then?
I don't.
Yeah, it's weird.
So I'm actually not 100% sure if it's just pure RNG or if you can hurt yourself by boosting past a certain point. I think you can keep boosting, but I'm superstitious. So I'm not going to boost here, even though I probably can, until that it's confirmed by a better runner than myself. And we got Duck Ship.
Nice. You love to see it.
Yeah, it's marathon luck. I didn't know there was such thing as marathon luck. I thought there was only marathon bad luck.
Well,
We'll see how Neverland goes. This the boss fights here get interesting.
yeah. This is where the strats become more difficult.
You don't say.
I like that angle where they just Sora's face takes up 90% of the screen.
Yeah. This platforming is so annoying.
So I fire there because if I don't, I'm gonna grab the edge. And then you can fire and get pushed up into the load zone by the animation. So you don't have to climb up the ladder.
Yeah.
What is it, Pink?
Luckily, we get to leave this world behind. In some of the other runs, like all bosses or whatnot, you have to come back to Neverland and fight Phantom, which is honestly the worst boss in the entire game, if you count the super bosses. Oops.
That one was scary when I was younger.
So
I
I'm
didn't
gonna
really
do
understand what was going on.
So I do an extra step here because I have trouble hitting things that are taller than Sora, or Sora's height. So I take off high jump for this fight because there's a strat where you can constantly cast stop. Certain bosses are just not immune to stop for some reason. And he's one of them, and he did not go into the corner like I wanted him to.
Anti-Sora is annoying. Oh, I didn't know you could do stop strats on Anti-Sora. That's nice.
I didn't do it very well, but it does help. And then once I run out of MP to use stop, I just start using ground combos. Because it's faster than trying to arrow combo him and miss constantly.
The second part of the fight is pretty annoying. You can loop the boss, but
like right now.
You can also get looped by the boss.
Yeah, and it's complete RNG.
The timing is pretty tight on the loop.
I didn't time the stop correctly.
Oh.
Come on now. There we go. That's what I was trying to do that whole fight. If you time it right, you can actually hit him before he becomes invincible, and then you can just loop him infinitely. It's really tight timing, though.
Yeah.
So here's the first really big menu you have to do. Oh, I need to put high jump back on. That's an extra part. Goofy. So we do, we customize their behavior because I want Goofy to use an ability later in the game called MP Gift, where he can just give me more MP so I can abuse a special ability. And then we change Peter Pan's because we're going to use him in the upcoming boss fight. And we want him to throw all of his ethers onto us. Which sometimes he'll throw them on Goofy, which is annoying, but it happens.
Yeah. We're gonna use Simba again here.
Get me straight.
Yeah, the rest of the summons don't really see any play, except for in other categories. Proud and level 1 use Mushu a lot, because with damage storage, she's broken.
Yeah.
Get me straight. Get me straight.
You do 3 charge, and then you do full charge, full charge.
Courage.
And you gotta punch the ship. Pretty nice fight. I like doing this fight because Simba is good.
Come on.
Okay, we're gonna use him 2 more times after this.
And here comes Hook. So there's gonna be stop loops on Hook. Hopefully, it can be pretty annoying, but
Especially when you bounce off the ship like that. And then sometimes he's just invincible to stop.
yeah, it's weird.
And Peter Pan is not using his, there we go.
Yeah, Peter
Come
can
on
give you
now.
MP.
This is a really bad fight.
Oh,
And we don't want to do full combos when he's not stopped because he'll get knocked back. And we don't want to knock him into the water because that loses a bunch of time. That was pretty bad. It's better than my last marathon run where I died.
yeah, I was gonna say it's bad, but it's better than dying.
Yeah, I died to Hook, and I died at Final Rest twice, I believe. It was pretty bad.
Yeah, it's rough.
But yeah, went hard on practice so those kind of things don't happen again. So I have no idea how this mechanic works because the clock tower is going to hit noon or midnight twice a day, and the keyhole just doesn't show up then, but it does when Sora does it apparently. We're just going to go with because magic.
That's gaming.
It's game logic. Skip a bunch of cutscenes here. I'll learn Tinkerbell, which we'll never use. And I'll pick up our free gummy engine here.
And we're going back to Traverse Town.
And thankfully we don't have to fly all the way back. If we did, I probably wouldn't run this game.
Yeah. Thankfully you have the warp drive. That'd be one hell of a gummy mission if you had to go back.
So this is the part where I remember to go to the Magician Study first. Because we need Dumbo. If I don't get Dumbo, the run's basically kind of dead. I mean, it's not, but I'll lose quite a bit of time. And then we're going to peace out, because we don't actually need to be here. So we're gonna go fight the boss, which of Traverse Town, the actual boss, which we could have fought in as soon as we came back to Traverse Town 2, but it just would have been longer and not as easy. So
yeah, we had to come here anyway, again for the Navi gummies. So just wanted to do it now.
Actually, I believe if you I forgot to equip Glide.
Oh.
I knew I forgot to do something, but I couldn't figure out what it was. So I'm gonna have to leave this area so I can equip it. Come back. I was like, man, that menu felt really fast.
Yeah, it's really fast when you skip part of the menu.
Yeah. I'll try and get all those extra guys to despawn. Because there can only be a certain amount of enemies on the screen at a time. That move right there I just used, Ars Arcanum, that's what we will be abusing for the rest of the game. Which is why we want Goofy to give us all of his MP.
It's really good.
It's busted. Apparently, if you compare it to the original Kingdom Hearts and the original one, it's even more busted because it costs 1 less MP to use.
Uh-oh.
And it does more damage, I guess. But only in the English version. In the Japanese version, it does less damage for no reason.
Yeah, there's a thing like that in Cage 2 as well, where like Duck Flare and that stuff. They just like, in Japanese it's really good, in English it's really bad.
So here's our boss. And he's dead already. GG.
Yeah.
Just
Sorry.
kidding. Psych. Yeah, they got really lazy. They were like, what if we use guard armor again, but he's backwards
Opposite.
and his feet are hands? Because we're out of boss ideas.
Yeah. Doing a lot of damage because left it until now. And it's the same idea as before. Kill the limbs and then finish them off. It's a bit more involved. But
He can
not
also
much.
become invincible at random intervals. Considering I forgot to use R's again after I had 3 MP, it actually went pretty fast.
Yeah.
Until I got caught on the ceiling there. Or that ledge. So we're already done with Traverse Town 3. The rest of the Traverse Town visits are really fast. When we come back again, we talk to like 2 people and then we leave.
And we're going to the best world.
Honestly, Hollow Bastion is the best world in this one.
And it's the only, well, not only, but it's like the one original world that's not like a Disney thing. Of like, if you discount a few others, but like if you discount like End of the World and Destiny Islands.
Yeah, they're like, you know, they're original worlds. Hollow Bastion is super interesting, like lore-wise, but I'm not going to touch on that. Because once again, Kingdom Hearts lore.
Yeah,
and I will butcher
Hollow
it.
Bastion is central to the lore as well.
Chip and Dale are going to remind us constantly there's a fighting tournament going on somewhere, but we don't care about. So now we have our fastest engine.
Yeah, we have Ultimate Bingus.
Not quite. There's one more gummy piece, and then we'll be the ultimate version of ourselves.
Penultimate Bingus. I kind of consider
Hollow Bastion to be the Resident Evil world, because that's where I got my start in speedrunning, was Resident Evil games. And in reality, it's a giant mansion full of monsters and puzzles, so it's a Resident Evil game.
Yeah,
I mean, if you really think about it.
You don't have to do a lot of mental gymnastics to make it work. Hardly any, so I can agree with that.
And believe it or not, we can go even faster than we are now, and for longer after we do Hollow Bastion for the first time. It's a world that we will revisit twice.
Yeah, we be zooming at the end.
Yeah, and this is one of the scariest gummy missions for like Proud, because those ships will sneak up behind you and kill you if you forget that they're there. Because everything one-shots you on Proud when you don't have any armor on your ship.
Yeah, Bingus is very much a glass cannon. And not even a cannon, just glass.
You see, it is. It's just glass.
Gosh.
Yeah, and then Sora makes really vague references to, man, I know this place, but I've never been here, and they never explain it until like way later in the games. When you find out this is actually where Kyrie was from originally, when it was called Radiant Garden, and it's, like I said, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing that's not important to the run or this game because they don't explain it.
This is also where the Final Fantasy people are from.
Yes. So, even though Riku's older, he kind of behaves like that little brother you have, where he's like, oh, you have a shiny, I want it, I'm taking it. Riku comes at his mom says it's my turn to use the Keyblade, and steals it from us.
Yeah.
Because it was originally meant for him, so he can do that, apparently. But then we just say no you and take it back.
Yeah, I have really strong memories of the wooden sword here because I did not know where to go at all.
Yeah, this is another area where I got pretty lost. There's just lots of places where you can fall off and end up in the areas like we're in now, like we're about to do.
Even though there's like not many places you can actually go.
Yeah, but then you still get lost.
Yeah.
And I pre-menued to gravity because the only thing we can do to hurt Heartless here is use magic. We're going to use our very strong companion to finish off the one Heartless we actually have to defeat before we get the Keyblade back.
I think it just took me a long time to figure out that these bubbles were interactable.
Yeah, I also didn't know until I started watching people run this game that you can freeze the bubbles.
Yeah, I
And
was
make
just about to bring that up.
platforms. Which is also kind of a meme in the community, because people who are running it will go, did you guys know?
Yeah.
You can freeze the bubble.
Just like a certain unskippable cutscene in this world.
Yeah, it's interesting that they made two cutscenes here just not skippable, and they're just going to force you to watch it.
Yeah.
There's a couple mods out that actually speed this category up significantly. I did a run of for fun, but one that makes the unskippable cutscene skippable. And I think I got like a 140 with a load remover, when world record's like 149 or 148.
See ya.
Like it's sped it. Basically I got like a 32-minute PB. Like it was insane.
Oh,
And
yeah,
it also sped up animations and stuff. It was mostly just like a for fun like joke run, but there's certain mods that we're actually considering like making like an extended category for. I pushed the wrong button in the wrong order. Which like the camera's slower, so that someone made a mod where you can it snaps back behind you faster, like it's supposed to, like in the original version.
Yeah.
Making text boxes go faster for when you have to like mash through text. It'd be an interesting. It's an interesting concept to do, but the animation speed one's kind of a meme because it speeds up everything that's not like normal gameplay. So when you summon Simba, the cutscene just hangs, and you're just in this like black void where the cutscene's supposed to be taking place, but since it's not playing, you just kind of stand there.
Right.
And then the Destiny Islands race with Riku is sped up for no reason. The creator actually said it's a bug,
Oh,
but I like to consider it a feature.
right. Yeah.
Okay, so now that we unlock the front gate, we can go face Riku and take our Keyblade back.
Yeah, his time with the Keyblade is done.
He doesn't even get to use it, is the best part.
Yeah.
The fight can get kind of janky, but
You want to start by doing some physical attacks, and then, you know, you use ours to just power through everything it has. What I should mention with ours is the way you use it is it's a pretty good fight. The way you use it is you can press triangle once and you do the initial combo, and then you have 5, I think, extra presses for hits, and then a finisher. And most of the time you don't want to do the finisher, and sometimes you
yeah,
you
I
wanna
didn't mean to
just
do
only
the
a couple
finisher
of-
there.
Yeah.
Because it's just slow to use because there's recovery. And you're invincible during certain frames, but not during the finisher, so you'll just sit there and take damage from most bosses.
Mhm. The book puzzle.
Which luckily we do pick up the book,
Half of
Sora.
it.
You have to read.
Yeah, the book's annoying.
Yeah. Normally you can I miss the angle, you can dodge roll straight into it and pick it up, but
Yeah.
there's way more to this room, but like none of it's required in like any run, I think. So
Yeah, it's just a bunch of items and stuff.
Fire!
oh, that's not true. I think you can get Dalmatian puppies in that room,
Oh,
and that's needed for Jiminy's Journal 100% run, and then for all puppies.
yeah. I mean, that would have been a good category for this marathon.
I actually considered it learning it, but I just didn't have the time to learn it because it's a lot longer to run. Because
This is
I
the
have that
Resident Evil
thought.
part.
See ya!
Yeah, this is why this is canon Resident Evil world.
Yeah. You're doing a bunch of puzzles to get these pieces to put in the door.
Which
Which-
itself is technically a puzzle.
See ya!
Yeah. But like if you took that sentence out of context, doing puzzles to unlock pieces to put in a door, you would not guess Kingdom Hearts. You'd probably guess Resident Evil.
100%.
And then they couldn't figure out a last puzzle, so they just put a chest there.
Yeah. So like this is part of the game where things start going really bad for Riku. We're stronger than him, and he knows it. And so he lets the creepy guy from Destiny Islands possess his body. And, you know, we all know that's a smart idea.
Mhm.
Sounds like the plot to Yakuza Kiwami.
Force!
Or Yakuza.
Is it?
Yeah.
Fire!
Riku.
Fire!
Never mind. I'm not even gonna try. Nishiki, you know where I'm going with
And Nishiki gets possessed.
it. By
That's my
who's-
favorite part.
by what's that dude's?
Never
We
just
tried.
Shimano nailed it by.
Oh, that was dangerously close to falling off the edge.
Ooh.
That would have negated everything I just did to avoid spawning enemies.
Yeah.
I actually don't know how I would have recovered from that. So it's really good. I'm really glad it didn't happen.
I guess you could have done like
This should help.
Dumbo earlier or something.
Yeah, I could. Well, actually, I wouldn't have enough MP to do the
Second
actual
Dumbo.
Dumbo skip I'm supposed to do here. So
That's after the big elevator, right? So you could have just gotten MP from the enemies. But
I
We'd
did
have
not
to go
mean to use
down.
ours.
oh yeah, it's
I have enough MP. Thankfully, Dumbo's only 3 MP.
yeah.
But there's a reason why I popped that ether early, is just for safety. I could have saved it. I also won't have as much MP for Maleficent now, which is kind of bad. But that fight's not hard, it's just you need the MP to make it go fast.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I was just thinking about the custom.
So this is the only Trinity that isn't required for progress we're going to use, because we want the Mega Elixir in it and the 2 cottages. Because cottages can be used outside of combat, and they do the same thing as a Mega Elixir.
Here, there's like a beefy tent.
I should make sure I'm actually on Dumbo. I forgot to do that during the elevator. So this is Dumbo scope. So normally we'd have to do a puzzle to move the these big blocks around to be able to get up to where I'm going now. Sora doesn't have time for that.
Yeah.
Unless, oh, okay, that was close. I said unless that wyvern knocks me off the edge, then I have to do it normally anyways.
Fuck, that's
Actually, I
not
do have enough
look
MP
cool.
for 1 Rs, so I can probably salvage the actual strat for this.
Yeah. You wanna get on the platform right away and then do a couple of hits into an Rs. And then you just wanna do combos until she's like under 1 bar. And finish her off into an Rs.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, that was the script that I said, but if you don't get that, then you know things can get all kinds of wrong in this. But
That wasn't super clean, but it went better than expected. I got a really slow fade out for no reason. Now comes the worst offender of abusing stop on bosses.
yeah, this is where I like when I watched the first KH1 run, I saw this is where I was really impressed by the strats. This is a difficult boss for when you're a kid.
Oh yeah, this is where the game got real.
Yeah. You're just gonna stop her right at the bottom where the head is in a nice position and loop her with stop. At a certain point, when you can't do any more stops, you're gonna pop an ether. And that gives you, you know, the MP for to finish her off. And if everything goes well, then she's basically just dead.
I shouldn't have stopped her, but it's okay.
No, she can't die once you stop.
Yeah, the way stop works is once it expires, it starts dealing all of the hits. That's why Hook was kind of like all over the place when I was using stop on him, because he gets knocked around super easy.
Mm-hmm. Now we get into the other, like, second part or third part of this gauntlet, which is another fight that everyone remembers.
Oh, I remember this fight with much hate because I sucked at it as a kid, and with you not being able to skip cutscenes, this part took me probably a couple hours.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah, same.
So it's another instance where I'm going to kind of break the norm and unequip high jump just to make this fight a little easier to do a strat that I can hopefully pull off. Where I just stun lock, where I lock him into the same animation over and over.
Yeah.
It's pretty tight to pull off, so we'll see if I can actually get it.
Thankfully, the DM is easy to avoid. Yeah. So to start off with, we're just trying to get him into like a health range where we can start moving in, or not even, or just going straight into the woods. So what we're looking for is that spin with that where he laughs. And you can, if you time this right, you can just look in that.
Oh, he DM'd me. That's unfortunate.
Thankfully, with the DM, you can just stand in certain spots and you won't do much. Which I would have liked to know as a kid.
Oh, he DM'd me again because I deflected too many of those. I was too good at the game.
The loop is basically just, if you time it right, you do a hit and then a full combo, and then he will do he will laugh at you, and that's the loop.
Yeah, I got it there for a little bit, but he can break out of it. Once he breaks out of it, it's really hard to get him back in. So
Yeah, but
it
thankfully
went better than I normally do on this fight, but not like great.
Thankfully, he's not as like. It's pretty. If you die to him, that's pretty bad. Like usually, you don't die. You just have a slow fight.
Yeah, even with being able to skip cutscenes, dying to Riku 2 loses quite a bit of time because you have to run all the way back from him from where you defeated Maleficent.
Yeah.
Also, Sora's dead. Spoiler
Alex
alert.
is born.
I have another.
Yeah,
donation.
we're not
Oh,
gonna
sorry.
get into nobodies and everything.
Can I do a donation?
Oh yeah, sure.
We got $5. $5 from video games. It says video games. Thank you.
Well said.
Thank you, video games, for $5.
I agree with that message.
So there's a reason why Sora's a Heartless now. Basically, the short of it is when someone with when you die, you have a chance to become a Heartless. If your heart's strong enough. Why Sora is the weakest Heartless in the entire game, I don't know. But he had Kairi's heart was inside him the whole time because power, friendship, and all of that. And so he sacrifices himself to let all the hearts out of the Keyblade Riku had to wake up all the princesses of heart. And
Tell me what happened.
Sora once again. So it starts in Kingdom Hearts 1 where Sora just kind of goes, I don't feel like doing this. And he just stops being a Heartless because he can.
Yeah, it's kind of like the scene from the Pokemon movie where Kairi just kind of wills him into.
Oh, I forgot to
being human
equip high
again.
jump. Yeah, where Ash just stops being stoned because Pikachu's sad.
Yeah.
That's basically the same thing.
Yeah, this visit to Traverse Town is really quick.
Yeah, we're finally gonna use the Red Trinity that we clipped through instead of actually activating. We're gonna get our last Keyblade that we'll use in this run, which is just a pretty good Keyblade overall, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, despawn. Thank you. Let me use the Trinity. But yeah, so like I mentioned in Kingdom Hearts 3, where he just decides, no, me and my friends aren't dead. That's kind of what he did just now. He's like, I'm not a Heartless. It's all cool.
Yeah.
Because Kairi was sad.
Yeah. You can do a lot in this universe if you just have a strong heart and a strong will.
Yeah, it's basically it's how they write themselves out of corners. Sora's heart's just that strong. He can do whatever he wants, basically.
Yeah.
So we're done. We just gotta go talk to Sid to get him to install the gummy we found. And there's actually a neat little thing about the next gummy mission that I'll explain when we get there. Because we're not going to do the full thing. We're going to cheese it.
Yeah.
And this cheese was found completely on accident by someone who died doing it. During a run.
Vegeta.
Yeah, I was going to say. I guess I'll just explain it now. Basically, once we go through the warp hole, we wait for 2 scene transition, like background transitions, and then we're just going to quit the mission. And then it'll unlock Hollow Bastion again, because we have to fly back there. So last gummy menu.
Now we have Ultimate Bingus.
I didn't replace the engine on accident, so that's good. I did that the other day.
Yeah, it's annoying.
So now we're super fast. Until we run out of boost.
The ultimate Bingus is a Mogus.
I have to ask, what is the Bingus a reference to? Is it like an inside joke, or?
We like Bingus. Bingus is basically like if you put Bingus into like the gift search on Discord, you get a bunch of like it's just some cat. His name is Bingus.
It's one of those, what are they called? The cats that look like they don't have like fur. They, you know,
Oh,
just,
Sphinx.
yeah, just like wrinkly. But it's just a bunch of silly gifs of this cat. And it's like, we love Bingus, or it's just absurd. Bingus, my beloved.
Yeah.
So I like to be safe and wait a second after the transition. I know you can do it sooner, but if you do it too soon, then you have to do that whole mission all over again.
Yeah.
And we're just gonna warp there like we did that whole mission. And then for some reason, mainly because they wanted to, I guess, extend the game a little, we don't have any of our save points in Hollow Bastion. We have to go through it all again. But luckily, we can use Dumbo to skip a huge section, and then skip the same section we did last time. So I need to equip Cliffkeeper. Oops, and second. And then Donald gets Leaf Bracer and Shear. Then we're going to customize Gravity onto Sora. And that's our last, like, huge menu. I missed it. So the second Dumbo skip's actually kind of sketchy, because these enemies can, you have no iframes while you're coming off of Dumbo. You're invincible while you're riding Dumbo, but when you're coming off of him, you don't. So you can get knocked off the edge, and it's not a fun time.
Yeah.
It screws the whole skip up. And they're already coming over here to ruin my day, so... I mean, you can wait until after they attack, but ultimately you want to do this, you just want to disengage as soon as possible. See that guy right there shot a fireball at me that would have knocked me off. Now, if I do this properly, the enemies will despawn. Yay!
Nice.
Getting the enemies to not spawn is a lot harder during that skip because they chase you. Those ones chase you further, than the wyverns do. From the first time we were in that section. And then we have to do another elevator fight, which there's nothing to it, really. We ideally want Beast to do a roar and crit the enemies, so they'll all pretty much die immediately. Beast doesn't like me, though. He did roar, but not when enemies were close enough. So. Oh, he did 2 roars. Cool. Never mind. Thanks, Beast. And I got a Freether.
Which is always nice.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, I should have held on to that, but it also can mess up my menuing if I don't remember to get rid of it, so I just usually pop it. Because if I get knocked out of doing this next Dumbo skip, then I have enough MP to leave the area, come back, and try again. Because you can only do each summon once per battle. So if I mess it up, I have to leave the room and come back in to reset Dumbo. Is this a Metal Gear Solid clone? Yes.
Obviously.
The answer at this point, with how convoluted this game is, the answer is always yes.
The only game I know where you fight on an elevator. That's not true.
It's too bad we don't have a really long ladder, or else it would definitely be a Metal Gear Solid game.
Yeah.
Cool, that went way better than expected. The enemies didn't even try and fight me.
It would only count if someone's singing while you're on the ladder.
I mean, we have some Utata Hikaru songs, so...
Yeah. They go hardcore on DMCA for a lot of music in this game, though.
Yeah.
Funny enough, in Kingdom Hearts 3, there's a random song during one of the only, like, gummy bosses you fight that, for some reason, gets my stream muted. I don't know why. There's nothing special about it. But every time it gets muted in that section.
Some of the DMCA stuff doesn't make sense. Here's our first behemoth fight. Yeah, you wanna get on his back and then R's his horn. You'll like you can get into like a certain position here where you can R's on him and then you won't fall down until the end, which is ideal.
So I have a ability equipped called Leaf Racer, which was not in which was not in the original. It basically makes it so I'm invincible while casting heal. So we abused that during this fight. Goofy, give me my MP. Goofy, give me my MP, please.
Yeah.
So I didn't get a. I didn't get the quick kill because Goofy, I think, gave some of his MP to Beast instead of me, which happens.
The natural choice.
And this is a really good spot to read any donations or talk about anything you want to talk about, because here's the unskippable cutscene. Mashing through this text, and then the next 2 cutscenes are you can't skip.
We're not at the point where I stopped yet, are we? We don't have any donations, so I'm just talking. You remember where I stopped, don't you, Ascari?
You stopped at the door, like before the last boss rush.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me! You didn't finish the game, and you were at the end.
Yeah, I kept dying, and I was like, I'm done dying. I'm not gonna die. I don't know what. Isn't there like an invisible enemy or something there that kept killing me? Or I don't remember. Was that a thing?
No.
We may never meet again.
We've got it.
Well,
yeah,
that is a thing. Like later
No matter
on,
where
but
we are, our hearts
but those aren't really.
There's an
that's not
enemy
the hard
called
part.
Invisible, but he's ironically not invisible.
I thought there was a literally invisible enemy that killed
What's that
me.
supposed to mean?
There's the part where you you know, when you're reclaiming Donald and Goofy during the last fight. Those enemies are technically invisible. Like it's in a really dark room.
Oh wait, we gotta. It's like right there. I feel like I died like on that platform right there from that cutscene, like where you fight. I don't know. You do a lot of fighting right there. But look, I saved the VODs, so we can go back.
and find it.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna ask what do you know what clear costume you wanted?
Oh, the Elsa Walker one.
Alright. I was in my brain manifesting Elsa
It's
Walker.
the only acceptable skin, really.
Okay, well it's been decided. Thank you.
Loaded question in chat. Is Aerith in this? Well, Aerith is in this.
Classic take top is best one now.
I mean, my take is that there are a lot of good costumes, but I just the Elsa Walker one's just, I don't know. I like it. It's different.
Okay, last gummy mission. We're going to the literal end of the world.
Yeah.
It's where all of the destroyed worlds go. So, I mean, technically, if you want to get technical, I think it's considered a Heartless in itself. Because it's born of all of the destroyed world's hearts, so... I'm probably just making up lore, but it sounds like it's real, so...
It sounds cool.
It sounds like something they would do.
Sounds like something Tetsuya Nomura would think of.
I just can't believe that they created a series where you needed like 5 different consoles to play all the games originally.
Yeah, like
And they got away
all the
with
different
it.
handhelds.
Yeah, you needed a PS2, a GBA, a DS, a PSP,
3DS.
a 3DS.
A Vita. Do you need a Vita? Is there a Vita exclusive game?
Just a PSP, you didn't need the Vita.
Okay.
But still, a PlayStation handheld.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's insane that you needed so many different consoles and they got away with it.
And that's why I only played 1 and 2, because I had a PSP, but I didn't have, you know, I didn't have, was that 3 days that was on PSP? But yeah, I didn't have PS. Right, these are invisibles, they're
Oh, he DM'd me. They both DM'd me, that's unfortunate.
you wanna, like, gravity does percentage page damage, so it's really good. So you wanna group them together and then gravity them into R's, and that will do a lot of damage, but sometimes they DM and you just have to deal with it. With DM is a desperation move, and it's basically just where when the enemy does an attack where they're invincible while they're doing it.
I also did not know this until I started speedrunning, but the platforms point towards where you're supposed to go. They're triangles. I never noticed that, and I felt really stupid when I figured it out. Because I always got super lost during this part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I never thought about it. I just scrubbed up the wall until I found my way.
See ya! Force!
So these guys, what are these guys called again?
Angel stars.
Oh yeah, you just gravity them and then that's really
There's
good.
nothing angelic about them.
No, they're like,
Especially when they do crap like that. Where they fly super high up in the air and they're barely within reach. Oop, that would have been bad. Almost used an elixir instead of a cottage.
the thing to mention before this next fight is that bosses are usually immune to gravity, but this next fight is not a boss technically. The last behemoth was a boss, but this one is not classed as a boss, so we can use gravity on it.
I actually believe Ansem 1 is also affected by gravity.
See ya! Force!
I could be wrong though.
Yeah, I know.
Because I think Donald casts gravity on him anyways, and it does deal damage. That's pretty clean.
Yeah.
I was hoping to get another Omega Arts drop, so I can give it to Goofy so he has a little bit of extra damage later. But I think Omega Arts is like a 1 in 86 drop off of that behemoth, so I've had it happen 1 time. And honestly, I would probably forget to equip it, so it wouldn't even matter. speaking of menus, before I forget. It's extremely important. We want as much MP as physically possible at this point for Simba. We're gonna use him twice. So this is the part where it's just a gauntlet. You know, if the portal's purple, you don't have to go through it. And it's pretty much in order of the worlds that we completed. I guess this is Olympus Coliseum that we skipped. That's why all worlds, you have to just roll through this whole part.
Yeah.
Well, that and Jiminy's journal and whatnot.
Simba's real good.
Simba's honestly OP. Like, he's on level of Mushu for, like, the beginner category.
Yeah.
I don't like where that defender is going. Please don't bite me. Okay. It's ideal that he shoots a fireball instead of coming towards you, because if he bites you and you don't have a full charge off, you will die. Well, you won't die, but it won't kill him.
It will suck.
So then we're gonna skip a bunch, and we're gonna do Atlantica, and you'll see exactly why Atlantica sucks.
At least everything's like weak to fire there. Right?
Yeah, when you're underwater.
Yeah. Like you just spam fire into them and they go down real quick.
You actually don't want Goofy to help there, because if those particular enemies die to anything that's not magic, they'll split apart, and you have more enemies to fight.
See ya.
You also have to be careful not to leave this area too early, or else you'll have to redo the fight. And I've done that I don't know how many times.
Yeah. The flash is the signal.
Yeah. So then this green portal up ahead is 100 Acre Wood, which will pick up a Mega Elixir and top up our health and MP. I guess this is technically the Hollow Bastion portal, but it doesn't like resemble Hollow Bastion. It's one of those deep lore kind of things.
Yeah, gravity is real good. And ours as well.
Elixir here. Mash through all this lore because we don't care. Do not DM me. Thank you. So we're gonna go fight Chernobog, which for the longest time I had no idea what he was from. He's not an original character. He's actually from Fantasia.
Yeah.
So during fights where we're flying, we don't actually want to finish our combos because it's slow. Even though the last hit does extra damage, like that, it's actually faster to just keep doing 3 hits.
I'm not a fan of this fight.
Oops. This is the whole fight. You just wail on him, there's nothing to it. Occasionally he'll push you away. He'll summon fire around him to deal damage. And like these homing missiles.
Yeah, it's just like you hit him a lot and then annoying stuff happens. That's it.
Yeah, like that. That's usually what wipes out your party members and takes away some of your damage. So we're gonna equip a Mega Elixir for this upcoming part. We get Super Glide, which is just glide but super.
Yeah.
And they're actually, funny enough, bound to 2 buttons. It doesn't override glide. You can still do a slower normal glide.
Yeah, that's weird.
I do my final rest, this gauntlet fight, a little different than normal. You're supposed to pop the Omega Elixir after you defeat the Behemoth. I save it as a safety thing because you have to have Donald and Goofy alive to be able to use summons, and we use Simba after a certain part of this.
So first things first, we do another Behemoth, like the same one, like the same as the one we fought earlier in this world. After that, we're gonna get into a certain spot to prepare for the next waves because there's a bunch of waves.
Normally I would pop it here, but I'm gonna wait. I'm just gonna melee kill these dark balls that are coming, this first dark ball wave, and build up my MP again. Hopefully Goofy gets hit to build up his. So he can give us an MP gift. We need to cast a ton of gravities, because there's going to be a wave of Misables after this.
If you pop the elixir, you do like fire spam on these guys.
I don't have as much MP as I would like. I would like you to come over here, please, where I need to be. Thank you.
Yeah, you wanna end this.
So this part's gonna get kind of sketchy.
Yeah.
Oh, none of them came over. Cool.
Yeah, you want the invisibles to come over and group up so you can just gravity them and.
Since enough of them are gone, I don't have to worry about Goofy and Donald dying, probably.
Yeah, a couple of them DM.
And the rest of this fight is super easy because we're just going to abuse Simba. That actually was a really pretty good final rest for doing it this close that way. But
yeah, as long as you get to the one fine, it's pretty okay.
Give me strength.
it gets a little tight at the end. If you don't push charge up fast enough, you won't have enough MP left to start it. The MP can run out while you're charging, as long as you don't run out before you start the charge.
Yeah.
Like that. That's where kind of sketchy.
Give me strength.
And that's the final rest. I forgot to equip Ray of Light during the last time I did this for a marathon, and I couldn't figure out why I didn't defeat the final wave with Simba.
Yeah, it's a small thing, but extremely important.
I feel like I died like right before I went to that door, the more I think about it, and I could have just gone to the door, but instead I died. Is that a possibility?
I mean, if you die during the bosses, you come back here, or you come back to like after this door.
No, I mean like
So this is
wait.
the point of no return. If I go through this door, I have to commit to the rest of the game, which we're ready for. We're exactly what level we want to be. We have the items we want. Some people have an extra Mega Elixir here because they don't use it on Dragonel, but I do for safety.
Alright, so Ansem 1, you want to trap him like by the base of the dock there.
And you can decide to just not do it.
Yeah, and you want to like just read his attacks and do things accordingly. It's not too complex. You'll do like Come Guardian, and you can do the discs, and then you can later on you can do submits. When he does Guardian, you can arts do that. As long as you keep him here, this fight's pretty nice.
He's not gonna do it. Nope, and Sora pushed him away. I'm blaming Sora, not me. Oh, that was actually a pretty good fight until he flew all the way up. You don't want to get hit by that.
Yeah, no.
I guess gravity doesn't affect him because Donald hit him with it. Ow. That's good.
Oh, yeah, submit is not great.
Open your heart.
I mean, it happened near close up to the end of the fight, it's fine.
Yeah, and it happened
Thank
where
you for the
could
MP
power
gift
summon.
after I needed it.
Yeah. Sounds like Kingdom Hearts to me.
And Goofy finally gets Tornado back. And that's the last menu in the game, too.
And now we get to see our old friend Darkseid. Which, you know, it's not much different from before.
He just has more
We
health.
yeah, we have more tools so we can do arts and stuff, but
So yeah, you can, if you do that fight efficiently, you can defeat him before he even gets that high. I should be able to finish him off before he, or not. No! Stop getting stuck on stuff, Sora. It's fine. So I have to play this fight really safe, because if you die to Ansem 2, you have to do that fight all over again.
yeah.
And that's the move I didn't want him to use.
Yeah, he has a couple of different things he can do. Otherwise, this fight is kind of similar to the one from earlier, but he's just more aggressive. There is a DM skip.
Which I know how to do, I just can never actually get it.
Right, it's hard.
Come on, what are you gonna do? Okay, that's what I want you to do, because that's easy to dodge. He's gonna DM. I guarantee it. Whoa, he didn't. Cool.
His patterns kind of work on an amount of stackers.
Oh, there it is. I did a little too much damage pushing him into the yellow bar, which is fine. Even playing this super safe, this fight's still going pretty well.
And this DM is not super difficult to avoid. Just kind of roll around.
It's just the fact he becomes invincible after he does it that's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
Come on. That's fine, I have enough R's to finish him off. And I get a free top off on my HP and MP for some reason. Not that I'm complaining, but for some reason they're just like, okay, you did the hard part, here's a reward.
And we get a checkpoint here as well.
Yes, thankfully.
So that was pretty good. But that fight's like, as long as it doesn't go super bad, you're okay. So you want to use Arrow here because he hits hard.
Arrow acts as a shield, and if you have Arrowaga, the highest level, it actually deals damage as you bump up against stuff.
Welcome the darkness into you.
Yeah, this one is pretty. You know, there's not much to say here. You just kind of, you have arrow up and you heal when your health is low, and then you hit him. And he does these lasers which are annoying.
Also, for some reason, Ansem's shirtless around a 12-year-old boy. I was really like, once I got older, I kind of expected Chris Hansen to be in the game, you know? I'm gonna cast an arrow to be safe.
Welcome the darkness into you.
So that wasn't great, but
It is what it is,
yeah.
Now
I
we
also
get-
play it safe with my elixirs. I could have popped one there for this part, but I don't.
Yeah.
Because I like to
We're
make
gonna-
sure I have them for scary situations later.
Getting Donald back here because we're trying to get Donald and Goofy back, so we have to fight these black things in a black room.
Yeah, it's real fun when you can't see what you're trying to fight.
It's game design.
This should help.
Thankfully, you get a lot of drops in these two fights that are in these dark rooms. It's really
Yeah, so we actually don't get a
fascinating.
party member back yet. We will after this next part.
Oh, right.
Yeah, also for some reason this is where the game goes from like, okay, kind of cutesy Disney to okay, kind of dark to what the heck is that monstrous thing? And why does it kind of look like a thing that shouldn't be?
It's a Square game at the end of the day, so they have to do
Oh,
it.
100%.
These
Oh,
tentacles
that was-
are annoying.
That was sketchy.
Heal.
Like the only positive I can say to dying here is you get a free HP and MP refill.
Yeah. Where's the checkpoint if you die there? Is it-
At the start of the artillery, that fight I just did.
yeah.
Luckily, it's a checkpoint after every fight from this point on.
That is nice. Here's Goofy. And a bunch of dark walls in a dark room.
Take that. This is it. This should help.
I just spam R's because if you get really lucky, you can take out like a ton of them at once. But
Yeah.
you're supposed to do
And
like a mix of gravity and R's at the very beginning.
And if Goofy is nice, then he'll give you a bunch of MP. Which he
Oh, you're still one alive? What the?
Fire. Here.
You mean you couldn't see that black thing in the black background?
This should
Right? I probably should have made sure Goofy was alive for this next part, because he'll come back, but with not full health. And we have to fight a giant face.
I saw his health go up right at the end.
Oh, he is full health. What the?
defense.
Yeah, the face is, you know, it's just a face. You arrow up and you can do hits and then move around to avoid the lasers. That's about it.
Heal.
That's all there is to this fight.
Yeah.
Defense.
And you don't completely choke at it like I'm doing.
It can be a bit annoying.
Heal.
Especially when Goofy dies super early on and can't help you deal damage. And he comes back to life as soon as I defeat it, too.
Come on.
Just
Actually, really close to time. This is probably going to be like a 2:35? Depending on how these next two things go.
Force. Force.
going good.
See ya. See ya.
Invisibles, I mean, in a dark room.
That
Not a
was
good
probably
recipe.
my best invisible core I've ever had.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Like, they all went into the gravities exactly like they were supposed to.
Come
Yeah,
on.
that's
Because you should be able to finish that fight with 1 R's. And then there's this random, easy, not even considered a boss, because he's affected by gravity.
Yeah.
Come on. Heal.
And yeah, it's one more fight.
Oh, actually, it's going to be like a 31 probably.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not gonna, this is the final phase. This is it's just the same as before.
It's a little more dangerous. The lasers deal more damage.
Yeah. In terms of strategy, it's just arrow and keep your health up.
You can kind of sneak some hits in there where you're getting pulled away, but it's not like great.
Yeah. And it's nice if Goofy and Donald can not die too much.
Ideally, you want to have at least 2 mega elixirs here, or an elixir, because you want to keep Goofy healthy with MP so you can use Tornado. And that's time. Actually got it. If I was using the load remover, that would be a PB actually.
Nice. GG. Sub 230 RTA.
Yo.
That's the run. Honestly, it's a great run. It's a little long for like maybe like a first speed run, but if you really want like an RPG, that's pretty solid. Has a great community behind it. Great notes for learning the run. Kingdom Hearts is honestly the way to go. I honestly didn't have a lot of confidence going into it when I first started, but the community was so helpful. I answered all my questions that I excelled in it.
Yeah, I imagine the resources for this game's got to be pretty thorough compared to a lot of other RPGs.
The Keyblade alone
Oh yeah.
cannot
Like, we have extensive tutorials. They're a little outdated now, but they get you a really good basis. Community is super helpful. This is the part where Sora pulls a no you. Kingdom Hearts is not darkness, it's light.
Yeah.
Supreme darkness.
That's it for me, I think.
I was gonna say, we're 25 minutes ahead. We can watch probably, I don't know how long the rest of this is, but...
Not 25 minutes, but I also will have to cut it. I have
Gotcha.
to cut it to avoid a DMCA.
Oh, okay,
So-
that's fair. That's fair.
We still have a
This
couple
book
minutes,
ended.
but...
Thank you for looking out for me.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't want to get the stream in trouble.
Alright, we end with $182. Stream's over. Thank
And
you,
most likely
Discord.
it would just get the section muted. But
Yeah.
still, there's no point in taking any chances.
Yeah.
Come
Well,
on.
thank you for,
And you get
submitting
to
this
see Mickey Mouse for like 5 seconds in this game.
Yeah. Turns out he's inside.
And he's shirtless, and there's actually lore behind it.
Yeah.
He took so much damage that his shirt got destroyed. I don't know why. Like, that's literally it. He gets beat up by the Heartless.
He could have just said he took it off.
No, that's the actual lore behind it.
Yeah.
Like I said,
So
the lore
good.
gets pretty ridiculous.
Okay.
I love it. I love the lore in this game. You know.
Yeah, as convoluted as it gets, it's pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh no.
He's actually coming up here in a second. He's so badass he can defeat 2 dark sides in two hits.
Yeah.
Howdy, fellas.
Wow.
He also gets the Keyblade. By Kingdom Hearts 3, everyone gets a Keyblade. Besides, like, Donald and Goofy, they get left out.
But
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry. There will always
Even
be
like
a door
Axel
to the
gets a Keyblade.
Yeah, literally, everyone gets Keyblade.
Now, they're coming. Donald? Goofy?
But yeah, that's it for me, I think.
Jeez, wow. Well, alright. Well, thank you, Jadusable2. Thank you, Oscar, for staying up super late. It's like, I don't know, what time is it in Iceland? Like 1-something, 1:43?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. But, yeah, that's Kingdom Hearts, almost at 2, final mix. Kingdom Hearts the first one, not the second one.
1.5 technically.
There you go.
We
All
want
right.
to get technical.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when the DMCA's coming up. I gotta run.
It's like another couple minutes, but this is
Oh,
a good place to just cut.
Okay.
So,
Alright, thanks a bunch.
yeah.